Do you ever see the movie Inglourious Bastards, where the German guy who is interviewing the French guy at the farmhouse wants to know if he's got any Jews living around. You know, and he's doing all these little things where he gets a piece of paper out. He's so methodical, and the scene is one of the best scenes in movie history. But he's turning the pages, and you know the way he lifts a pen out, and that's what I just did with my camera equipment. I did all that kind of stuff. What's weird here is I can see half of the screen, right? You see this part here this way. Oh my God, this is all backwards. This way is like part of my house. I don't understand how that's, I don't really care. Hey, Dave. Dave, if you want to come on to the show, I'll get a link in a second. I don't have a hell of a lot to say, but this is the last broadcast from where I've been living for the last, I left my home. Green screen is tricky. So I wore a shirt like Dave Wilbanks, you know, so that it might look like a more professional and better with a green screen. I don't know if I look good as Dave though. But I'm trying. Maybe I need a deeper blue, Dave. Do I need a deeper blue? This is what I wear if my wife and I go out on some kind of a fancy place and a nice dinner. This is what I'll wear. I've got one shirt, and I always actually, unbutton it a little bit just to get her going. But tonight I'm going to be a bit coy and keep that second button closed. Can you guys hear me okay, by the way? Because I was worried because I made that video earlier saying I was going to play tonight, but then I remembered there's a Deep Purple tribute band playing downstairs tonight. And of course, Deep Purple was one of the 10 different bands that made it into the Guinness Book of World Records for volume decibels. Okay, great. So Deep Purple, Manowar. Manowar won it twice. Motorhead, so I'm like, oh shit, a Deep Purple band. The tab is using your camera. I don't know. So, with this Deep Purple tribute band, I was like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to do this now. But they were really low and tame. I mean, I would like to have heard them. Well, I did hear them, but I would like to have been there because I love Deep Purple. I think they're one of the pioneers of heavy metal. They were pre-heavy metal, as Rainbow were and as Black Sabbath were. I guess you could say that Black Sabbath were the first actual heavy metal band before it was coined. There are a couple of other bands. I can't remember them. That would have been classed as heavy metal. But I think that the name heavy metal came from, what do you call those guys? Heavy metal thunder, racing with the wind, and the feeling that you're under. What do you call them? There's nothing can stop me, baby. Take the world in a loving embrace. Born to be Wild. What do you call those guys? Oh, shit. I think that the name heavy metal came from that. Hold on a second. Something's going on here. From that Japanese orchestra playing. You know what I saw the other day? There are these flamenco guitarists, and they play they do the whole album, and they did a whole Iron Maiden album somewhere in time. Yeah, somewhere in time, and they played the whole album with different flamenco players, and they're of course, they're playing in Spanish settings and stuff, the castles behind them, but they were so good. YouTube is probably one of the best things, my opinion. Steppenwood, thank you, sir. YouTube is the best thing to come out of the internet, in my opinion. without, going into other different stuff. But in my opinion, YouTube is one of the best things to come out of the internet. I mean, the resources on YouTube, if you want to learn guitar, if you want to fix your car, if you want to learn about history, and then just pure entertainment, there's so many avenues that YouTube has opened up. It's fantastic. I actually bought the subscription. It's $13 a month, and you don't get any ads. So, and I think it's so worth it. It's not like, it's more interactive in the sense that you can choose what you want to watch, and it's so varied. Whereas, Netflix and Amazon, you only have so much. No, I'll post a link right here, Dave. There you go. Yeah, just click on that. I don't have enough viewers to come in and spam me. And even if they do, it'd be kind of fun. Yeah, so come on ahead, anybody. I'm just D'ing around here because like I said, it's my last night in this apartment, and I'm kind of glad. Oh my God, I think the Deep Purple band just started again. Yeah, it's 10:06, so they were just having a break, and that's why it was so quiet. It might get loud. Do you hear it? Oh, they're playing Burn. Yeah, there they go. So it might get a little loud. Burn. Dave, can you hear Deep Purple starting up? Yes, there we go.
Yep. And now, I am.
So it might get a little loud.
I'm.
Burn. Oh man, no, you're muted. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Yep. I can't hear you.
How about now? Now?
Do you hear that? It's like vibrating through the floor. That's one of the reasons. One of the things that I want to, because where I live is kind of like out of the way, and it's got a lot of woods around it and stuff. And living in this apartment building kills me because you can't just go outside. Yeah, I can't hear you, Dave.
You can't hear me now?
Something. Is it on my end? You can hear us both. Okay, so it's my end. Hold on. I can't hear Dave. Why is that?
I don't know. Let me go here and
hold on. Mute mic. So that's you muted, and that's you unmuted, but I can't hear you. Why is that? I've got the same setup as any other time.
Hold on.
God damn it. Something to squatch about. Where have you been, man? I've been checking out to see if you've been around, and I haven't seen a video from you for months. Damn it. I must be doing something wrong here because...
Can you still not hear me?
I can't hear Dave. Outstanding. Oh, you did, man? Yeah, I don't think I'm subscribed to you, so I probably missed it. Can you guys hear Deep Purple? You gotta be able to hear that bass, and I still can't hear Dave. I can't hear you, man. I don't know why. Hold on. Okay. You see, I can't hear him. Why is that? Oh, hold on. Yeah, let me change. Maybe the outgoing and ingoing are different, but that's not usually the case. Hold on. Open sound settings. I know all about this kind of shit. I'm smart. Sound. Because it might be. I mean, it's not usually like that. I listen to these. Choose your input. Test the microphone. USB microphone. Oh, here we go. Can you still hear me right now? Let me know, guys, because that might be the key. Because I'm going through an actual mixer. Yeah, I'm going through a mixer. Oh, so you can still hear me. Let me see if Dave's back. No, he's not back yet. So let's see if that works. Because I have a little mixer here, audio box. Yeah, I know Dave's gone. I might just kick him from the whole stream. Just kidding. Okay, let's add him. All right, Dave, say something.
Okay,
Yeah,
something. Can you hear me now?
I can't
Can
hear
you
him.
hear me?
Why is that? Okay, let's add him. I
I
still can't hear you. Hold on. Nothing's changed. I haven't changed anything. Hold on.
hello.
Say something.
I,
No? Why can't I hear you?
it's something on your end.
All my settings are exactly the same. Yeah, you
I
can
can
hear
hear
both.
myself. I can hear myself on YouTube.
If it was like the 80s, Dave, we could just bang on the top of the computer and it would work. Hold on. Let me open the volume settings a second. Incoming, outgoing. Everything's turned on.
Hold on. I
Hold on,
don't.
let me open the volume settings.
Can you hear?
1 second, dude. Incoming, open sound settings. I'm doing something wrong here. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Sound control panel. 1 second, dude. Incoming, sound settings. So I'm getting feedback, output, input. Everything is exactly the same as it was the last time.
You should hear
I don't
me.
get it. Speakers. Oh, God damn it. I can't figure it out. Everything
You
is
should
just like
hear
it
me.
was yesterday. I haven't changed anything.
I don't think it's anything on my end.
All the dials are up on my mixer. My mics are plugged in. My headphones are totally fine. Let me just make sure my headphones aren't picking up the
Oh, can you not hear me at all?
webcam. Hold on. That's the only thing I can think of. No, I'm using the audio box USB 96. Okay, 1 second. Say something, Dave.
Something?
No. Try it. Oh, there we go. There we
You
go.
got me?
Yeah, I put it on. I put it on to go through my computer sound card rather than the audio box. Now, do I sound as good?
Yeah, you sound fine.
What the hell? See, if I wasn't so smart, I wouldn't have been able to get that. Is that you playing?
I'm piddling around. I've put a new band together, and I've been practicing guitar all afternoon.
Nice. That sounded a bit. Freaking Deep Purple-y.
I don't know what it was. It just piddling around at nobody.
Yeah.
But no, at the store. It's my 30th year in business, and I'm going to put a concert together for October with several local bands, and I've put one together myself of some of the better musicians in town. So it's going to be fun.
Is Steve going to be there?
Steve and I are playing the guitar. Elijah is going to play bass. Bill Van, who one of the best drummers I've ever played with, he's going to be drumming. A guy named Joe Allen that I was in a band with, 30 years ago, is going to be doing vocals. We're doing some White Snake stuff.
Nice.
We're doing some Black Sabbath, some different things there. So it's been that's what I've been doing this afternoon. I worked with Elijah on the bass a little bit before I left from the store. So anyway, Huh?
How did your date go?
My what?
You had a date last week with your wife.
Always. Oh yeah. Yeah, Saturday night's usually our date night.
That's nice.
Let me kill some of these lights in here. It's too bright.
They're playing some good shit downstairs, I have to admit. Can you guys still hear me okay? Because I'm kind of echoing.
I hear you fine.
Yeah, now that I've changed the settings, I can hear myself, which I hate.
No,
I hate my own voice. I can't even listen to my own interviews. I cringe. Like, I've been here for 22 years, and I think that my accent hasn't really changed a bit. Now, if you heard me like 22 years ago when I came to America, now I do like have to adjust so people can understand me, but it basically hasn't changed. So, hey, Chris, you can come on anytime you want to. Chris Kimball has an origin story. To be a Bigfoot personality, you've got to have an origin story. No base.
So this is your last podcast from this address?
Yeah, I'm moving back home, and I've got to clean the place from top to bottom tomorrow. I know they probably offer that service themselves, and they do that, but I'm just going to leave it the way I found it. That's just the way I am. Let me see if I can turn up the bass, because I know because the last couple of times I've tried this mixer, it's been kind of harsh. It's kind of tinny, and I'm going to see if I can adjust that. Apparently, all the needles should be in the middle, but I don't trust that. People say just put it in the middle. But and I've got these really two good mics. They're SM58s. They're really, really good. They're really good microphones.
That's the old standby.
Right. So and usually when I play it through my audio recorder, the one I recorded Bigfoot on, it's usually pretty deep and bassy. But for some reason, it's probably because of my surroundings. Because I'm at a 900 square foot apartment with no doors, so the sound just doesn't stay contained. It just goes out there, and you just hear whatever way sound works. You'd know better than me.
Yeah, not necessarily. Podcasting. So It has been, man, you guys have had cool weather up there.
Yeah, it's been
hot. Like over 100 down here. I have not been going out in the woods this month. Usually June is pretty fair down here. We had no spring this year. We went directly from winter to blazing hot.
Yeah, I guess I got here sometimes too.
That's why instead of the weekly video from the woods, I've been doing podcasts and interviews. So,
well, maybe if you wore shorts, might be better. You don't like wearing shorts, though.
No, not out in the woods like that. You're just asking for it.
I know. I have to wear shorts in the woods. But then we don't have the same perils as you have.
No, you don't. Well, yeah, you have some timber rattlesnakes up there, but I don't think they're as abundant as stuff down here.
Yeah, I haven't seen any. We get water snakes and little stuff that doesn't really scare you,
But yeah, Boston is. The Massachusetts does have timber rattlers.
It does. It actually has an island. There's an island on a lake somewhere that it's called Timber Island or Snake Island, and it's they put a lot of snakes there and they just leave it alone. So I don't know what they're doing at night.
Yeah, I think you've got northern copperhead up there too.
Really?
Yeah, you got northern water snake. I believe copperheads go that far north, and I know the timber rattler do. Not as abundant as down here. We got a lot of them. But yeah, it's just I went out. Me and Elijah went camping probably the last weekend in May, and it was already getting pretty hot. But it was a pretty good trip. We had a little copperhead in camp I kind of shoot it out. But since then it's been so miserable down here. I just haven't been going out.
Yeah, it's horrible. Well, I just carry
Man,
my Smith.
I've sent you a link the last couple of times I went live. If you'd wanted to come on, you could. But I know you're busy, so
I've got so much stuff going on, Dave. You wouldn't believe.
I get it, man. I understand.
I've got to meditate to get through it.
Oh.
I've actually started practicing meditation again just to calm my mind, and it's been a tough couple of months. I mean, tough. I'm not going to go into it, but it's been a damn challenge. Where being a parent really becomes being a parent. When you have a kid that is 13 and he's starting to explore the dangers of the world and starts to meet bad influences and stuff, and you've got to navigate all of. I've never experienced this before, so obviously, thank God it's my boy and it's not my girl because she's only 8. When she starts going through it, I am going to freak out.
Yeah, we know how teenage boys are. We used to be those.
Yeah, and I put an app on my boy's phone so I can track him. So I know where he is.
Oh, there. I couldn't see the comments over there for a second. Now I can. Well, there's Cashew.
Cashew.
I'll tell you what, she has done such an amazing job helping me out on my podcast. That's she's so good at it. I mean, you can just mention some picture or something, and she just bam, she's like that. It's just there.
I'll be like, my favorite Bigfoot story is the Mike Woolley story. Bam, Mike Woolley story linked to the podcast,
right.
Sasquatch Chronicles. Will come right up. She's really, really good. It should be a job. Maybe it is. I don't know. But you should definitely have a career in that if there's a career. Maybe on the bigger channels it is a career. You should look into that because you're very talented.
Who, Cashew? Yeah, she is.
Yeah. So
very much
what's been going on in Bigfoot world? I mean, of course, I check the Facebook pages and look around, but I don't see anything new coming up at all.
Well,
there hasn't. not even any hoaxes.
Well, I mean, there was a female dog man came up and had a litter of puppies under my porch, and I had them spayed and neutered and gave them away.
Any photographs?
No. I tried, but they were all blurry.
Right. Probably the shift in between dimensions.
Oh yeah,
But I think the last hoax or thing that everybody that paid attention to was that thing that looked like a werewolf outside the zoo, right?
Yeah, that didn't even look real. And was that you that sent me the thing from the city there in Amarillo? Said, okay, you've had enough fun with it. This is a joke. And they said it was a joke. They just wanted to see. And to me, that didn't even look real. But yeah, it's almost like there's a contest out there to see who can make the most convincing fake. But no, I haven't really been. The only thing I can tell you going on new is in a couple of weeks, I'll be at there's a Bigfoot museum in Tallahena, Oklahoma, right at the hills of there. And I'm going to be doing a book signing and talk there. And I'm having the lady and possibly her husband that owns that going to be on my show Tuesday night to talk about it. So, Hey, Chris.
Hey.
Chris, how's it going?
Got green corn this weekend, so kind of worn out from that. So let me.
We can hear you. We can hear you echoing back, or is it just me?
It was my cell phone.
Chris is one of these people that's been on. I've seen on our shows for 2 years. I think so. I've always seen you on
that.
The comments or something.
He's a regular. Chris is a regular. Sure.
Yeah, it's probably the pandemic started watching more, But I was up in Massachusetts in 2019. A friend of mine got married. He's teaching at Brandeis College, and it was Memorial Day weekend. But before the wedding that Saturday, went walking around Walden Pond,
Oh yeah, Walden Pond.
and you see where the cabin was at Henry
Yeah.
Thoreau, and there's like a rock cairn, a pile of rocks. And I noticed on top there was a musket flint. There is
Really?
like a French amber musket flint. And I figure I'm the only one who would have really recognized what it
Right.
was.
Chris does Civil War reenactments.
The Seminole War.
Yeah, Cashew's already got a link.
Seminole War.
Yeah, 1830s. There.
What's the Seminole War? Is that against the Indians?
Yeah, the United States tried to remove the Seminole Indians and spent about 40 years trying to do it in 3 different wars, and finally gave up. Even though they ended up removing about 95% of them, there's several hundred that remained in Florida, and now there are about 4,000 Seminole and Miccosukee tribe.
Well, that was in Florida, right? The Seminoles were from Florida.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So you played the part. You played the part of the bad guy.
I play one of the Seminoles usually. I played the soldier one year, and which was good because I was wearing wool and it got down into the 20s at night.
Oh boy!
But anyway, so it's kind of been a journey about pretty much into the Native culture and history, and ran into a bunch of strange paranormal stuff around the way. I visited Fort Washita in South Oklahoma, and back in '97, and that's the most haunted place in the Midwest.
Really?
Down in the what Wichita Mountains are?
It's near Durant, Oklahoma. Fort Washita.
Oh, okay. Down,
I guess
the Washita, not Wichita. Okay,
yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Or Hugo in Durant, Oklahoma, by I think it's Texarkana Reservoir. And
Texarkana right on the border.
Anyway, we did a few events there until about 10 years ago when some kids burned down the barracks, and then the Chickasaw Nation took it over as a historical site. But in 1999, we did a historical trek from Fort Towson in southeast Oklahoma to the Red River, and just kind of for a week marched along and lived like the 1830s, 40s type of lifestyle. So I was at Fort Towson, and this was September 1999, and I drove up from where was I living at the time? Florida. So I drove up from Central Florida, and I got there a day early because I wasn't sure how long it'd take me to drive. And I figure I'll just camp out at the site overnight. So, I just throw a piece of canvas on the ground and a blanket, and I'm just sleeping there. I hear the coyotes off in one direction, and then other. Eventually, the moon rises, and then I hear the coyotes in the third direction. And then it's about 1 or 2 o'clock. The coyotes start coming up in this ravine near where I'm at, and there's this like creek or ravine. And I said, "Uh-oh, here I am facing a bunch of coyotes." So I stand up, and they all go charging off, running off. And I said, "Boy, that's good." So then I'm laying there, and I hear this strange whistling, that's going on, and I can kind of see a pathway that might be coming from. And I said, "What the hell is that?" And later on, I had somebody in a Bigfoot chat room or whatever on the internet years later play that same whistle at, one of the Bigfoot groups in southern Oklahoma. So I said, "That's wild," but what the weird thing was is that I didn't see what it was. I heard the whistle. I should have seen something appear in the opening where the pathway opens, and it's bright moon out, and didn't see anything. So, that's kind of my first Bigfoot experience, which I really didn't know it at the time.
What was the whistle like? Was it like, or was it
something like that? Yeah. Yeah,
was weird.
I try not to whistle because that's one of the taboos in the native culture is whistling.
Really?
In fact, the first time I was at Fort Washita, I got deathly sick. I thought my appendix had burst. And so I flying back to Florida, go straight to the hospital, and they couldn't find anything. So I got out and talked to a Seminole lady I know at Brighton Reservation. She says, "Oh, you had ghost sickness." And I talked to another elder, and he said, "Oh, yeah, that's ghost sickness," without telling them where I'd been and what I was doing. Uh, but when we were camped out in the barracks at Fort Washita, we could hear boots walking around the outside of the railing all night, and as just two of us sleeping in there. But over the years, they've seen like people who shouldn't be there or apparitions and strange things. So my Seminole friends taught me the ghost medicine to do every time I go somewhere. And so I went back the next year to Fort Washita and did the ghost medicine, and nothing happened. And the other reenactors were complaining they didn't have any noise
Ghost
or
medicine?
peep out of the ghosts. Yeah, there.
What's the ghost medicine?
It's
Ayahuasca?
no, it's mainly mint and doing some other things. Yeah,
Sage?
yeah, yeah. But
So ghosts don't like sage. I mean, what's the deal with sage?
Yeah.
it's the smell. I guess they're very, very particular to smells. But I blame it on the mushrooms. They in the native culture they say mushrooms are the ghost food.
Well, in Ireland, that's where I think, my own opinion, is that's where the little people and leprechauns and stuff come from, because there's a couple of months every year where magic mushrooms grow freely in Ireland because of the fertile soil. Around about September, October, and I think it definitely, at least the Druids probably took them and had visions.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of that lore comes from.
So early 2000, the Seminole tribe in the Big Cypress Reservation in South Florida started doing a historical reenactment. So there we're going to the Indian reservation, dressing up as their ancestors and holding a battle reenactment, which is pretty unique. So
Right.
A friend of mine, we were camping together, and after the visitors who were just there for the show have gone, and it's just the local people from the res running around. We have a whole bunch of kids run through the camp, the local kids in the reservation, because it's just something for them to do. And so my friend and I asked anyone who comes by, have you heard about the little people or the big hairy people? And everyone we asked either heard about them, knew about them, had a relative who'd seen them. So everyone has a story, without exception, everyone had heard about the big people and little people.
So now, when you go on these reenactments and stuff like that, do you have to get in character, or is it just stop at the uniform and the battle?
It depends. My favorite ones were where we do first person all weekend and stay in the role.
Yeah, it's like Dungeons and Dragons, where some people take it really far and like get really into being a wizard and shit.
That's very hard to do because people have to know the history and also because we'll get into discussions that are, the politics of the day of the 1830s or 40s.
That's awesome.
Why is Texas succeeding from Mexico, and are they going to join the United States, and things like that? And why not let the Seminoles stay in Florida because nobody wants all that swampland? And we get into these discussions, and it's from what we've read and researched in the newspapers and publications there.
Yeah, that's interesting as hell. That's a great thing to hobby is probably a light way to put it, but I went to see a few reconstructions of World War II. There's a place beside me, and the guy that invented the barcode bought this place like 5 miles away from me, and he has like all of this stuff from World War II and World War One and stuff, and he tanks and Hitler's squad car, all this kind of weird stuff, and they have battle reenactments every Father's Day, and I remember going to one of them.
Yeah,
and it's like the Germans against the Americans, and I'm like, I really want to join that, and I like was writing to them and stuff, and I really wanted to get into it, and I never did though. But
yeah, I never got into modern warfare because I was in the Army, and it's like being back in the Army.
what you get hit with PTSD, or is it just too familiar?
Well, I guess too familiar at the time. But
so,
anyway.
So what you're talking like Gulf War One?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
So, yeah, I put a story on my blog back in '93. I had just gotten out of the Army, and my scout troop back home in Florida, they were going to summer camp, and they needed a couple more adult leaders. So I said, great, I'll go. And this was, just out of the Army. I'm in great shape and can do the hiking and all that. So we go up to the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia, scout camp out there. And so I catch a bug or something like a flu bug, the 24-hour flu.
Yeah.
So I'm hiking with the group, and I get really sick and dizzy and can't carry on. They say, well, why don't you just go back to camp and rest? And the way the camp goes is all the trails go around in a circle. And so we're always within reach of the camp if there's an emergency.
Right.
So they say, okay, you just go walk back to camp. And so I go back to camp and sleep the night, and then I'm better the next morning and come back and join them again. But when I went back to camp, there was one other kid in the tent, I guess a few tents over, and he was with our troop, but not hiking with our group. He's staying in camp. And I had a reputation for scaring people and ambushing people, and my nickname back then was Sasquatch because of that. I'd appear, disappear. And he said he heard at night somebody walking around outside his tent, and he wondered if it was me because, and it wasn't me. I was just sick and passed out in my tent. You had like Gulf War sickness. If you were role playing, you could have pretended it was that. And there was no moon out at this time. It was pitch black. I know the feeling. Of course, he didn't tell me this until just recently here, almost 30 years later. Jesus. I had never heard. So next day I went back to the troop, and we're camping on a ridge line with a power line easement. And so I put my little tiny dome tent up, and I'm sleeping at night, and it's about midnight or so, and I hear somebody walking up to the campsite. It's bipedal, and everybody else is asleep. And I had seen a house, when we passed by the boundary fence, so I figure it's some hillbilly raccoon hunting or something. Right. And we're right under the power easement, and I hear the person walk up, and he's probably about 30 feet away or so, just sitting in the woods. And I know he's doing that because that's something I used to do. I used to ambush, and I just got out of the Army where we do stuff like that. So I figure, okay, he's waiting here. I better get up with my flashlight and let him know there's scout troop here. Don't be hunting. So I get out of my tent because I got to water the trees anyway, and I'm just in my shorts. And I hear a bam, like a gunshot, but I do not see a muzzle flash. And I hear the guy just tearing out and running away faster than anything. Yeah. And it's pitch black. And I said, boy, that guy's good. He can run away in pitch blackness, and I can't see a thing outside my little flashlight. And I never thought anything about it. I asked everyone else if they heard a gunshot last night or if they heard a guy run away, and nobody else heard anything. So I didn't think of anything of it. Then a few months ago, I heard on one of the Bigfoot stories, a guy talks about the Sasquatch hitting the trees. It sounds like a gunshot. And so suddenly the light went on. I said, that's probably what it is. It was probably a Sasquatch, but not knowing at the time that they have them in Virginia or the Blue Ridge Mountains, I never thought anything of it. Thought it was just some hillbilly out raccoon hunting. And so.
Were you by yourself?
No, I was with the troop, but we were kind of spaced apart. Everybody had their own little tent, 1 or 2 man. And I just had a 1-man tent. And
it sounds like a great way to hunt for squatches while doing reenactments.
Yeah, so anyway, I got out of the Army, and for 10 years I was a park ranger down in the Everglades. And of course, they have the skunk ape there, and I only lived a few miles down the road from David Shealy, world famous promoter of the skunk ape, and down in South Florida. We both lived along Highway 41, and for a while I was the park acquired some property through eminent domain. And so I was living in a trailer that had been abandoned. And I fixed it up and living out on the preserve. And I was about 2 miles off the pavement.
That sounds awesome.
So it was pretty cool. And, I set up my own little campfire ring and have campfires out there at night. And the stars would be great. And so came out one time as January. And in the Cypress Dome, I heard a scream. It sounded... it must have been at least 10 seconds long, or it was long and loud and scary. It was like a howl, like a howler monkey or something.
Yeah.
And it was in the Cypress Dome. And I said, okay, I'm going back inside. But I noticed in my trailer, I mow the grass around it. And on the backside, I didn't have any shades on the window because I'm living out in the swamp. And on the backside, I never had to mow the grass because it looked like it had been beaten down, And I noticed there's looked like a deer trail going out from where my back window is out into the cypress swamp. I said, that's kind of funny. I never see any deer or animals coming up that trail. So I'm sitting there one night, this shortly before I moved out of there, moved to another part of the park, and I'm watching TV, and it's like 11 o'clock at night, and I hear fingernails tapping on the window.
Oh man!
And this is windows like 7 feet up, and I don't have it's like a back door, but I don't have any stairs under it. And the trail is.
Are you armed?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that that didn't worry me, but it was definitely fingernails because if you've ever been sitting in the car and fighting with your brother and mom taps on the window with her fingernails, that's kind of what it sounded like. So
I've been fighting with somebody else in a car where somebody tapped the fingernails, not my brother.
So I went running outside, just and couldn't see anything, nothing out there, just quiet night with the frogs and the moon out. And I guess maybe I should have looked under the trailer, but I didn't think of that. Nobody there, nothing there.
Man, it's freaky.
Yeah, and so another time I woke up in about 4:30 in the morning and get a drink of water, go in the kitchen, and everything's shut tight, doors closed, and the trailer and all that. I wake up about 7 o'clock the next morning, and the front door's swinging wide open like somebody came and went. But nobody's out there. I'm just the only one out there. And so I figure if it's the Squatches, it's okay if they visit, but if they close the door when they leave, because we got a lot of mosquitoes. I don't want mosquitoes inside.
Man, still, I wouldn't be able to sleep.
And then, got a big mattress from a friend, but I didn't have a bed frame, so the mattress was on the floor. And so one night, it's as somebody grabs my feet with the blankets and everything, just drags me out of bed.
Really?
And I just kind of laugh and crawl back into bed, and it happens about 5 times.
And no one else was there.
I didn't see anything there. I didn't see anybody. What's going on?
Jeez.
And I figure if they want to eat me, I was a goner. I might as well just joke along with them and just laugh and crawl back in bed and not react hostile. And so anyway, that was and I don't tell people that, but I've heard a lot of people give same stories where something's going on, but they can't see anything. They don't see a
happened to
beam.
Les Stroud. The same thing happened to him that sat on top of him.
Yeah, and it's like you don't see anything going on. And I talked to a famous Bigfoot personality that had about the same thing, not Les Stroud, but somebody else. And they said, "Oh, you're just having a dream," and that made me mad. It's like they're just discounting, and they have the same experience. It's like,
Hey, Philip.
Yeah. So.
Wow, that's a good origin story.
Yeah. So.
Can I just go to the bathroom 1 second, guys?
Oh, okay.
Talk among yourselves. 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Hey, we get paid for carrying the show on in your absence.
Yeah, I can't see the chat.
What part of Florida are you in, Chris? The southern part or central?
I'm in North Florida. I'm in Tallahassee right now, but
okay.
I've lived in Orlando, South Florida, all over. Lived near Mobile, Alabama for a few years, out in Arizona, and so, But
and I hate the South in the summertime. I hate the heat.
It was. I got off work. It was got home at 5:30. It said heat index 108. It was like being in an oven. Yeah, I had to. I had to go to the square grounds because it's green corn, and I told them I'm going wait a few hours, and then it started to rain and it cooled down, so it worked out great there. So.
Yeah, I was on somebody's show the other night, and they had a guy from Joe, the New York Bigfoot thing. He was in New York. Leon from Bigfoot Okanagan, British Columbia, and they were both wearing jackets. I'm down here. I'm like, man, I wish I was up there.
Yeah, jackets are something I use about 2 days during the year, actually.
Yeah. Well, and being from North, when Cornell came down in March before last, and it was really cold down here, me and my son were camping. We were wearing heavy coats, and Cornell was down. He was just wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
So I guess, he's used to a lot colder weather than we are.
Actually, 2014, it snowed and we had a freeze, and it closed down 200 miles of I-10 along the Gulf Coast. But I was out of town at that time. I was down in the Brighton Seminole Reservation.
Okay, comment from Kathy, the lovely Kathy Dunaway. Kathy was I did an interview with her, and her and her friends were in a Jeep, and they were chased by Sasquatch. Legit.
Yeah.
In Tennessee, like, how many years was it, Kathy? Like 30, 20 years ago or something? Yeah. Well, that was one of my favorite interviews.
Yeah. Definitely wasn't a bear inside my trailer. But, right. But, we had a scout that was pulled out of his tent by a bear because he had kept candy bars. And this was in the Chiricahua Mountains of Arizona camp up there. That was in 1992, I think, and they closed the camp down. And I don't think they ever reopened it.
Jesus Christ.
Southeast Arizona there.
Where I grew up, there wasn't any bears or snakes, or there was nothing like that. We were just worried about other humans setting off Semtex devices and stuff.
So what kind of wildlife do you have in Ireland?
Just people.
Sheep.
We have sheep, cows, pretty big spiders, actually. Disgusting
Well,
spiders.
you like spiders, right? You like spiders, right?
Oh, I love them. I have spider pets. No, I hate spiders. Whereas I love snakes. I could be like, Indiana Jones, where he's like lying in that thing,
Yeah, I love snakes.
and he's covered in snakes. That wouldn't bother me, as long as they weren't poisonous. But I could let snakes crawl all over me. One spider drops on my head, I'll be like kung fu fighting. Yeah, people are the scariest creatures. They definitely are. Although a grizzly bear is pretty scary.
Yeah, I moved out of the Everglades in 2013, just as pythons were starting to become a big thing.
Yeah, wasn't that because people were letting them loose, or was that because they migrated somehow?
A little bit of each, because they started showing up before Hurricane Andrew and first one 1979. Right. But I found the first one that was in our park. I was coming home from a party. It was in November 2004, I think, and there was a dead one in the roadway coming back just at the park boundary and all that. So I figure I should give this to the biologist. So I put in a garbage bag and stick it in the freezer and in the workshop. And the next morning, everybody gets angry because our park volunteers said, "Yeah, who put this big snake in the garbage bag where we have the ice cream?" So.
Oh, so you put it in there to kill it?
No, it was dead already. I just wanted to freeze it so the biologist could take it. And
I would eat a snake. Remember, Dave? I was going to eat a water moccasin, but I would definitely eat like a python if somebody served it to me, and like with some rice and Chianti. I would definitely.
Yeah, we ran one over with the bush hog, and our volunteers cooked it up. We had python ribs and
python ribs. And, I don't think I had any bones.
Yeah, they got ribs all along their body. I'm
so stupid.
But they're like tiny needle things, like fish.
Oh, right. There's actually a restaurant close to me called Cajun something, and it sells alligator. I really want to try alligator because.
Good.
Yeah, I've had alligator plenty of times. Yeah.
Really? What does it taste like? Don't say chicken. Don't say chicken.
It's like alligator. Everything tastes like chicken.
I know. Even humans.
Kind of fishy, but a little more meaty.
Yeah.
It's really.
What it reminded me of, Cornell, is I ate it. It was, of course, the tail. The texture was kind of like chicken, but it was kind of fishy. But that just me. I don't really know how to compare it, but
apparently it's loaded with 4 times more protein than steak.
Yeah,
really.
We had at one place I lived at the park. We had a restaurant and gas station at the corner. It's like 200 yards from where I live, so I had my own bar that I could walk to at night. There, it's
nice.
Like a biker bar. They had alligator, but. One night, I guess some guys were driving by. It was about midnight, and there was a python crossing the road, and they stopped and killed it, and cut off the head with their pocket knife. So the guy who's the barkeeper, Jim, he's behind the restaurant cleaning up, and he walks out, and there's guys who run up who have all the snake blood on them. Ask, "Can we use some water spigot?" He says, "Sure, go help yourself. I'm out of here." And so the next day in the newspaper it has our park name. It says 3 men kill python in front of the park. And the way the state government is, they're very ruthless. Whenever
state government?
I work for the state parks.
Oh, I thought you said snake government.
Yes.
I was like, wow, Illuminati.
Yeah, reptilians. But the way the government is they want everything to go through their press release and everything. Anytime our park shows up in print, they want to know all about it. So our park shows up on the front page, and we didn't even know it because we live in the park. We don't wander out, except to go to the bar on the corner. And we get kicked out of the bar more than the bikers, the park rangers.
They never served the python?
No. Python supposed to have a high amount of mercury, so it's not considered something.
Oh, really?
So anyway, that was kind of funny because our phone, as soon as I walk into work and with the park manager, the phone's ringing off the hook, and it's the head office in Tallahassee, wondering what's going on, and we don't know anything about it, and so we pull up the newspaper on the website, and see the story. So it's just strange park ranger stories. I figure we've seen everything.
Now, Chris, what about the famous? I don't know if it's close to you. I think it was from Central Florida. That photograph in the palm fronds. Yes. What about that one?
Yeah, that was that's in Southwest Florida. That was in the same district as but heard a few years ago that it was possibly
right?
Faked. Yeah.
It's
like a cutout they photoshopped, and
because the palm fronds were too big or something.
And that just muddies the water. That muddies the water when you have had a place with sightings and then somebody has to fake a picture, and so then you start to doubt anything. But
I doubt everything.
But I do too. I'm got to be a real skeptic, but that comes with age, I think. But anyway, with my interest in Sasquatch, which I've had since I was like 10 years old.
Same with Dave.
And when there's a flurry of skunk ape sightings in South Florida, I had my interest ever since then. I just never knew they were in other parts of Florida other than the Everglades. So for a while, I kept up a database I had like hundreds of different sightings from Florida, which I don't keep it up anymore because it doesn't serve any purpose. But I started listening to stories from some of the other park rangers, and like one of them at one of the park, he said, I was at the ranger station and a guy comes in and he is real scared and shaken. He said he saw a white Bigfoot crossing the road and he was all scared, but the park ranger doubted him, thought the guy was drunk and all that. And that made me kind of mad because, you're not, sometimes you get the best information from your park visitors. But another story I heard, a guy was out with a group of biology students from a university, and they're about as far out in the wilderness as you can get at a pond that had a lot of alligators, but they noticed barefoot footprints, like a child size in the mud. As far as they knew, there's nobody else out there, especially not barefoot children around the pond that had alligators. So makes me wonder. And
I'm just still waiting for that. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask Chris what he thought of the Sheely footage of the supposed skunk ape walking through the Everglades.
I don't know that one.
It's from about 2000. Yeah.
Yeah, it's older.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with that. I always kind of wondered because it's out in the open in the middle of a prairie in the middle of the day. So, yeah, I've never been impressed without that. But
the Sheely footage.
David Sheely. But
so is he still around?
Yeah, he's retired. So, but his campground was the best place to go for information on the local folklore and culture. We'd sit and I'd sit with some of Seminoles or him, and we'd talk for hours on the people who lived around there. There's like a 93-year-old woman who walked out her front door one day, and there was an alligator there, and like ripped her leg off, I guess.
Good grief.
and she hated that she had to move out of her house after that and go to assisted living there.
Okay, let me just play this a second.
Yeah,
okay, I want to see this.
Yeah.
That's the one where the kids are on the college. They're on the deck, right?
No, this is just out in the middle of the prairie.
Okay, hold on. Let me play it. I'm going to go full screen here.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I've never seen that before.
Oh, okay.
Can you all see that?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So that's
Yeah,
in Florida.
familiar with it. Yeah, that's in the Everglades, Big Cypress.
Really?
But I just find it odd. It's in the middle of the prairie, just. But
Okay, so yeah, the thinking is, are these things masters of disguise and undetection, or will they walk in the middle of a prairie like that, just like nonchalantly?
I've been interested in these things for 50 years, and I've never seen one there. But I've had these weird experiences. It's and if I've had them tap on my window and scream out in the cypress, and still not seen them. So.
Well, when Dave and I were down in Oklahoma,
yeah,
I mean that last camping trip we had so many things that happened there that both of us can't explain. We can't explain.
Yeah, I had a few more experiences related camping with the scouts or something. I remember we stopped at one time, and this was at the camp in Central Florida, where since then I've read about half a dozen sightings within 5 miles of the same location. We arrive, and it's about sundown, and we're out in the middle of the woods, and no breeze at all, but I hear a tree just crash and fall to the ground. And nowadays I wonder, was that a natural thing, or did something push it over? There. So I always wonder about that. And
yeah.
Same place another year, I was camping out on the in the same area, and it's about 2:00 in the morning. Something comes through and it's whistling.
Oh, sorry. That's the intro to Sasquatch Chronicles. Sorry, I left that playing.
Oh, okay.
This is a good point. Good point,
yeah.
Kathy.
Human behavior lacks explanation, but the whole point about Bigfoot behavior is that it's undetectable, and it doesn't, like, it can see infrared, and if it was so stealthy, why would you just see it like walking across a prairie, like nonchalantly looking at its feet, like, or even the paddy footage? I don't understand. It has to be one or the other. It has to be entirely stealthy, or sometimes they can mess up and just like screw around and like walk across the road, that kind of thing.
Yeah, here we are 60 years later, and it's still mostly all speculation.
Well, you have Dave and you have Kathy who just commented that saw one right there. Kathy had one chaser. So that's why I can't discount this phenomenon is not real, because I trust people like Dave, Kathy, and other people, and Kerry Arnold.
Mine was nothing dramatic like Kathy's. Mine was, I caught a glimpse of it as it was standing at the edge of some brush across a creek from me, and it wasn't very big. It was, no more than 5 feet tall, and probably not even that.
But then you had the casino footage too, where you saw it on video.
Yeah, that one was a big one. That was over 9 feet tall. Yeah. We were able to measure that up that light pole that was beside that grease trap. So I saw that back in 2000 when they had shot it.
And when Dave and I were in Oklahoma, I set up a recorder, and that night we were walking around the bottom of the mountain and stuff, and it went so quiet. It was like deadly quiet. And that night we were like, oh my God, this is like, What did you describe it as, Dave?
You mean the silence?
Yeah.
Like the forest was holding its breath.
Right. And then that night at 3:00 in the morning, I woke up and I heard this thing walking around the tent, and it was like crunch, crunch, crunch. It was definitely on 2 feet. I know people say you might have mistaken it for a 4-foot creature taking, certain steps, but it sounded like a big, heavy person. And it was like a dirt. It was like a dirt floor. It was like sand, like dirt, hard packed dirt, with some rocks here and there. But you would have had to be very heavy to hear that. And I freaked out. I lost my shit, and I yelled to the guys in the tent, "Guys,
yeah, we were
wake up!"
Me and Elijah were in a tent, probably 6 or 8 feet from yours.
Yeah, our tents were like this, facing the fire.
Close, but they were. He woke us up yelling, and I rule out a bear because we had done everything wrong. We left our food out and all of that. None of it was touched. A bear would have beeline for that stuff. And plus, it just disappeared. I mean, it was gone. We got out. We looked around, and
nothing was touched.
Nothing. So whatever it was, it simply came down there and was messing around beside Cornell's tent. And I didn't hear. I was asleep. Elijah, my son, was as well. And Cornell's yelling what woke us up. And Cornell would not go back in that tent. He just flat put his foot down. He goes, "I'm not getting back in the tent." He said, "I'll sleep in your truck." Yeah. And then he did.
I put the sleeping bag over my head and locked the doors.
Yeah,
I was terrified.
He didn't want to see something looking in it. Yeah,
right. I had this vision of like something just sticking its head, like King Kong, sticking his head up to the window, and then I would have been done. I would have had an early heart attack.
Yeah.
But I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. I can't remember being that scared. I thought that when I was a kid, about 13, maybe even younger, on Halloween night, I heard this yelling outside. And banshees are a big thing in Ireland, right?
Yeah.
So I thought it was a banshee. And I was like, under my covers, like almost crying. But now when I look back at it, it was a cat in heat or something, right? But it sounded like that banshee cry or something like that. And it scared the shit out of me. That's the only other time I can remember being that scared.
Was it cats mating?
It must have been. It must have been. It wasn't a banshee because I don't think they exist. But
Kathy, that's a good point. She says complete silence is almost as creepy as a howl.
Yeah.
And that is when Cornell and Elijah and I were down in those creek bottoms below our camp, and it was just deadly quiet down there.
Yeah,
I call it the forest holding its breath, and Cornell said it was like a tomb.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I had 2 Florida Panthers mating outside the window of my bedroom for a few nights back in October 2009. And that's scary too. Cats growling and hissing. And I'm thinking, what's going on? So I go to the kitchen window and shine my flashlight out. And I see 2 mountain lions. Well, we call them Florida Panthers because we don't have mountains. But they're the same thing.
Right.
So for the next year, I don't go out at night.
Well, also, Dave and I, the night before, we caught all of these, on my recorder, we caught all of these knocks and whoops and friggin'. Oh, wow. Actually, the whoop was the second night. The knocks and the rock clacks and the branch breaks and stuff, they were the first night. And there was no one else around. It was just us, like in the middle of fucking nowhere. And it was crazy. I mean,
it makes me wonder all these years I was camping with the scouts and scout myself, and
just like that.
Yeah, we'd hear all these weird things, and and out in the middle of nowhere, but we'd never think anything of it. And now I just kind of wonder years later.
Yeah, it's weird. I can't. When I get settled, I want to go back down. I'm just going through some a transitional period right now, but when I'm settled, and plane fares are expensive right now, I don't know if it's maybe too hot to go down there or not, because I don't know if I can handle heat.
You would not want to right now, Cornell. I would not want to go up there now.
I might wait until the end of summer, but I so much want to go down. It's like Woodstock for Bigfoot hunters. It's just so exciting. I mean, like even the smallest thing, like I bought some steaks the last time, and even that cooking those steaks was just like such a ritual, and everybody had a steak with some steak seasoning on it, and that was just like. And then we went for a walk and put on. We brought our Bigfoot equipment, our cameras, and our night vision, and the parabolic microphone. And I mean, it's such a blast. It's like Scooby-Doo in real life. It's so much fun.
And that's why we want Cornell to come back, because he buys steaks for us.
Yeah, I don't mess around.
I went to was it Chickasaw National Recreation Area? Went there.
I think I passed there.
Yeah, that's
Sulphur.
Sulphur. Yeah, that's supposed to be a big hot spot.
Didn't I pass by there, Dave? Yeah. Sulphur?
I'm sorry?
I drove past Sulphur, didn't I?
It's a fairly good size town.
I remember that name. I love the Oklahoma names for towns. Sulphur and...
Yeah, I went hiking one of their trails at night, just myself and a flashlight, and nothing happened, which I'm glad nothing did, because maybe in retrospect, it might not have been so smart, but at night.
Down in the Sulphur area?
Yeah, at Chickasaw.
Were you down there on Rock Creek behind Veterans Lake?
It was, I think, no. It was near the visitor center, I think, at the time. And
you went back there. You went back by Devil's. You went back there by those springs and stuff.
Yeah, those springs. Yeah.
You want to go to the part that's really out there, though. Go over to Veterans Lake and go back in there behind the dam and go down Rock Creek. There's a pretty primitive trail.
Yeah.
And I've actually collected some sightings from along that area in the past.
Is that where the police officers had the sighting?
No, that's the other side of the state. The police officers, that was up by Grand Lake, which is in northeast Oklahoma.
Tell him that story, Dave, if he hasn't heard it.
Well, that's on. Did you ever see the show Bigfootville? The documentary that I was on back in 2001. Anyway, it's documented in that, but there was a police officer. One of them's name was Dan Bell. The other last name was Whitfield, but Dan's the one that went down there with me. But they had been camping in these river bottoms behind, where'd Chris go? Behind Grand Lake, and had kind of a face-to-face encounter with one of these. You froze up, Cornell?
Oh, no,
you worried about? I thought you'd froze, and Chris is gone.
Disappeared.
Yeah.
Must have been something we said. Oh, he's coming. There he goes.
Yeah, what happened? Lost their signal.
Oh. But yeah, they had been camping back in there and four-wheeling and stuff in there. And that night they had a face-to-face encounter with one of these Sasquatch. And when I went up there to investigate it, Dan led me in there, but he wouldn't stay past dark. He got out of there. But when they had seen it, they left all their stuff down there. And they were armed. And they didn't even shoot at it or anything. They just ran, got in their vehicle and left. And the other officer did, from what I understand, the first time he went back there was when we filmed that segment for the Travel Channel documentary. And he actually, if you watch that part, he's the one that acts like he's afraid to be down there. And that wasn't an act. He was still scared to be down there. And Dan, the other guy who I got acquainted with, he's passed away. He's no longer with us. Sadly, he was a nice fella. But yeah, I went up there into that area several times that year, looking around. It's pretty remote. Up there, it's close to where they had the whole Noxie monster thing back in the early to mid '70s, I guess it was.
What does that mean?
It was not far from that.
I can look like a statue. Batmom says I can look like a statue. Maybe it's because I'm
What,
freezing.
Oh, you mean what looks
I
like
don't
a statue?
Me. I look like a statue.
When you were being still and asked you if you was froze up.
I thought she
Yeah,
meant like
yeah.
like one of the Greek gods or something. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, Cornell.
Yeah, that must be it. I'll convince myself. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I just found the comments. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the comments are fun. That's one of the best things about these streams is the comments and getting people involved, and that's
Hey,
one of the reasons why I do these.
If you back up a little bit, I don't know if Cornell's seen it, but Batmom on further back talked about when she was a little girl or a little boy, had walking around in the woods of Humboldt County in California by herself. That's right up there in Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Batman. Batmom. I
Pretty
keep saying
brave.
Batman.
Philip Palmer says, "Didn't y'all have stuff thrown at you?" Back in
He did.
yeah, that was a long time ago. That was back 2003 when my friend Brian Baker and I were down there. We were investigating a sighting of a man that was riding horses down there and saw one of these creatures, and something threw a large rock against a tree right outside of our camp late that night. Oh, you're saying we're making a Bigfootville? You're talking about there. Yeah, there was some stuff thrown. Nothing like near us really, except, well, yeah, something did land in the pickup bed close to me, but I'm really suspect about that might have been one of the film crew done that, because if it wasn't one of them, something very close to us threw it.
What pissed me off about Bigfootville was that guy just shooting wildly into the woods.
I told you the story.
Yeah.
That's what people think. That is not what happened, and I've been setting people straight on that since that happened.
I know. I'm just messing around.
There was a berm that you don't see, and the producer asked him if he would fire a couple of rounds into that berm, and he said, "Yeah, sure." And the way it was edited in with all the excitement, it makes it look like he was defending the camp from rampaging.
That's crazy.
That's really
TV.
that's the only part of that that I was kind of disappointed in. I wish they hadn't edited it like that.
But it's still good. It's still good. It's a great show. Watch Bigfootville.
Yeah, the thing I like about it is your Seminole friend who passed away
Tim.
was in it.
Yeah.
Tim, and he's the only one who actually shows somebody a possible Bigfoot. It's way down in the valley, but he's carrying.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
It was a cow.
Oh, it was a cow. Okay.
Yeah.
He was carrying his medicine bundle.
He goes, "I ain't gonna say," but when he says that and points across the valley, and it was a dark shape, I was down at the bottom of that mountain. I wasn't even in that shot, and one of the cameramen asked me if I could come up there, and it took me a while to find him. And he was still, the one cameraman, Martin, he was still in that area, but Tim and his son Kanjat and the other camera guy had went on, and we stood there for a while watching, and after a while, it was like, yeah, that's actually a cow, because there's more than one by that time over there. But, it was at a great distance, so, anybody could make a mistake there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was cattle.
Okay, so Kathy, the Batmom was 8 or 10 years old, walking around Humboldt Woods by, isn't that a state in Texas?
No.
Or, sorry,
No, Humboldt County,
county.
Northern California. That's where the Patterson film was shot.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm an ignorant European. By herself, always heard footsteps, but I kept
I'm an
scrolling
ignorant
around.
American, so you know.
Yeah, we all have our weaknesses. But yeah, so like America, I've only been here like what 22 years, and I'm still. It's one of the things that lures me about America is the wide open spaces and stuff, and learning. Every time I do a stream with people like Dave and yourself, and I'm always learning stuff. And as a European growing up, and I moved here when I was 30, so this is all very, very new to me.
Yeah, David Paulides, before he got involved in the 411, he wrote, this is Tribal Bigfoot, and this was Humboldt area in California, and the Hoopa Project. Wrote about the people in
Is
the
that a pretty
Hoopa.
good book?
Yeah. I like it
I've been
because
threatening to get that.
I always like the native perspective, and this is really one of the first books that came out about the native perspective on Sasquatch. This is you have to buy it through his website, and his artist Harvey Pratt in Oklahoma. I don't know if he's Comanche or Cheyenne, but he's head of the American Legion chapter, which is something that appeals to me. But he was the top forensic artist in Oklahoma. So, there's some Oklahoma connections in that.
Wow.
And so that, it's pretty cool. The Hoopa, I was looking on my bookshelf for the book. I have a reprint. It was printed about 1916. A woman who was Hoopa tribal member printed a book about her history and the story of her people, and included few things on Sasquatch. But this, like in the 1916, when women aren't publishers, she publishes her own book, which was pretty cool, about her tribal history and culture and what's going on. And I wish I could remember the name of that, but it's somewhere up on my bookshelf. I have about 1,500 books on Native Americans over there.
I knew you were a reader.
Yeah.
Tell. Dave's a reader too. I read. Dave's a writer also. Have you read Dave's books?
No, I need to order them too. So, I'm one, if I have a chance to buy it from the author themselves, I'd rather do that. And because I published 3 books on the Seminole Wars myself.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. So, if I have a friend who's published, I try to buy it from them personally because the money goes directly to them. So.
Well, you can.
Yeah.
He's right here.
Yeah.
he's right above you.
Yeah.
He'll sign it for you too. I've got a signed book from Dave.
Yeah. If you're ever in Oklahoma, stop by.
I will.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to write a book.
Ada. Yeah.
I would love to write a book about my growing up and, in the troubles in Northern Ireland and stuff, and like traveling around Europe and coming to America and Bigfoot shit. I have so much material, but my head's too scattered to actually put it down on paper. It's not an easy task.
Hey, the lady that does the formatting for me for a book, she said that statistically less than 2% of everyone that starts a book finishes it.
I can believe it.
Yeah.
That's what she said. She said, I've finished my second. She said, you beat it twice. I said, well,
it's a great accomplishment. It is. It really is.
I mean, you just got, and I'll tell you what, I had these, one of my first books, fictional, but I had the idea for the story. But then a friend of mine wrote a book, a sci-fi horror book, and he just did it and didn't even publish it. He just had it printed up himself and the book cover made for it. And I thought, you know what am I waiting on? If he can do it, I can do it. So I went ahead and started mine. And then after I got that one done, started on the second one.
I would show you photographs of Dave's books, but they're all packaged away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm packing at the minute. My apartment's kind of empty.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've got them.
Oh, there we go. Of course he has.
Funny you should ask. I just happen to have one. Here's the first one, which is the Champagne, which is
That was great.
based on a monster in Choctaw legend. And I'm going to put that Champagne is not another word for Bigfoot in Choctaw. And I've heard people say that. It's described as a large cannibalistic ogre-like monster that, will ambush people in the swamps, but it's never talked about as a Bigfoot. In what I can find, it's its own monster. Now I tie it into the Bigfoot legend and put the story in Southeast Oklahoma. And this is you see, this is Kiamishi Bigfoot investigating the Oklahoma Sasquatch, which is nonfiction. And the cover photograph, that is a picture I took. Cornell, that picture, I think I took it on your first trip down here.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that because that early morning I got up and walked down to the creek and I was looking at that fog, filling that up. I thought, man, that would make a neat picture for something. And I took it. I've been carrying that picture around for a while. And when I got ready to publish this second book, I thought I'm going to use that for the book cover.
Yes, perfect.
So you can, when you show somebody that book, you can say, by the way, this photograph, I was there.
Yep.
I don't think you were awake yet, though. I think I was down there.
I was snoring. That's when you heard the whoop.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when Cornell's first trip down here. What was it? November, or was it last week?
October. Yeah,
last week of October. It was right around Halloween, and he did not get here till really late. We put it this way: we made it to the campsite in the Kiamishi Mountains at like 11:30 at night.
Yeah,
and it was
creepy.
Cornell asked when he was telling somebody the other day, I don't know how to get down there. I was blindfolded in the trunk of his car.
Figuratively, I was. I didn't know where I was. I don't know. I couldn't bring you there now.
Yeah, we drove. I mean, I've been there several times, obviously, but Cornell's like, man, are we going to get there or what?
You're fine as long as you don't start hearing banjos.
Late after, of course, Cornell, tired from travel and stuff too, from the flight, he went straight pretty much to bed inside his tent. And I slept out on a cot, I think. I didn't sleep. I don't sleep in a tent generally. But yeah, I was standing at the edge of camp and a pretty loud whoop. And I don't know what that was. Now, when Cornell first got there was that owl let out that loud call real close. That's when you said, what the heck was that? That was the first night, wasn't it?
Or was it the next day? I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those 2 nights there, but that owl too. And owls can make some pretty creepy noises. And a fox, if you ever heard a fox scream, they make a wild sound, Yeah. They sound like a person screaming, a red fox does. Matter of fact, I have heard somebody going through at a Bigfoot museum somewhere on the East Coast, and they was playing a Bigfoot call. You could push a button and hear it, and it was a fox.
Wow.
It's a very common mistaken identity on that.
That's weird. It's such a small creature, and it makes such a big noise.
Yeah, actually, you can pull it up on YouTube. Just type in a red fox screaming, and you can see it. It just just lets out. It sounds like a person screaming.
Okay, give me a second.
You pull one up. And yeah, one time me and my friend Brian were down there, and there was a fox at a long distance. We could faintly hear it. And we were like, what in the world is that? And it got closer later in the night. We could hear it.
Okay, hold on. Share screen. Okay. Tell me if you guys can hear this.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Yep.
That doesn't sound that bad.
Well, no, but there's another one on there that I think it's in a zoo or something. It actually shows the red fox doing it, and it's a lot louder and clearer.
Okay, hold on. Let me see.
Right. Oh, you can't see. The one right above the one on the porch. See the one standing on the porch?
Yeah,
The one right above it. Right above. Yeah, click on that one. There you go.
Echo?
No, that's it.
That doesn't sound like a Bigfoot, though.
No, but I've heard it. I've heard that mistaken for in the past.
Well, I've heard that out in the woods years ago, and I didn't know what it was, but I didn't think it was a Bigfoot either.
Screaming and stuff. Now I hear something in the woods walking. I don't know what it is.
I don't either.
It's freaky. Right now, I probably pissed on my phone. The porch just starts fucking. Oh my god.
Okay, so if I heard that, if I was out there, I would probably think that was an animal.
Yeah.
That sounds like an animal to me.
That one that you were just playing, was that guy saying it was a fox or a Bigfoot or something?
No, he didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
They were just
yeah,
a couple guys.
They'll sure there's stuff that gets your attention. You know?
Yeah, it definitely freaked me out. But yeah, like Batmom says, I would definitely freak me out. But I wouldn't think it was a Bigfoot. Like those Bigfoot howls you hear is like, and it goes on forever. That sounds like
I've
a
never
Bigfoot.
heard anything like that.
No, but I've heard them on videos. You know, where it sounds like a man screaming in the middle of the forest, and it's very loud, and like he's got big lungs.
Well, yeah, the one I heard, couldn't have been anything else because of the duration and the volume.
Right.
Lasted a long time, and I wouldn't have enough breath to make a scream like that. So,
like the barn
from West Virginia.
Well, we call it a barn owl down here. Man, a barn owl sounds
yeah.
Very
on it, Phil. Hold on. Yep. Mournful howl. Mournful howl. West. Oh, there it comes right up.
Probably a banshee.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Southwest Virginia is that it? Bigfoot howls? Southwest Virginia Bigfoot howls, or West Virginia howls? Scary stuff. I'll pull up the first one. Hold on. Share screen. Share screen. I should be out catching predators. I mean, human predators. Okay, let me do it. 1 second. Chrome tab. Mournful howl. Share. Okay, hold on. 1 second. Why is it not coming up?
There it is.
A woman requesting to stay anonymous writes RMSO and sends us a video with Bigfoot-style vocalizations. She recorded these Bigfoot-style howls from her front porch in Bluefield, West Virginia. She says, I recorded these howls we've been hearing since early May 2021. We have tree structures, have heard whistles, howls, and wood knocks often. She recorded these around 9 p.m., stating the howls were a ways off from her location. I will play the original 40-second video, then boost the volume and play it again, then boost it a second time, even louder, and then a third time. Keep watching to the end. The howls were amazing in distance. They sound Bigfoot-like. I needed to boost the volume because it appears that she was using a cell phone and they were off in the distance. I was really surprised how they turned out, boosting the volume several times.
Shut up, Kelly.
Thank you for sending.
I've lost interest.
I know.
Go over and share with the public. Keep watching. We're going to keep on
Shut up, Kelly. We can't listen to you anymore. Yeah, that's it. Right. So that's what I'm talking about.
I can't hear that.
He's gonna amplify it in like 10 minutes. Hold on. You hear that, Dave?
Sounds like the Ohio howl.
Yeah,
Kind of.
the Ohio
Right, so-
howl. Yeah.
I'll go to the next one. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let me go to the next one. West Virginia Bigfoot vocals. Let's see if this is any different. Okay, hurry up.
Bunch of news we missed. Hikes in.
Oh, there's your man.
Stop the loss of the forest and the quest
Reverend
of poaching animals.
Kelly.
They do it for many reasons. And now make sure you go through and click on.
I don't want to have to listen to him. Hold on.
Who's Reverend Kelly?
Reverend Kelly is a famous
Reverend?
skeptic.
I mean, he's a skeptic.
Oh, he's terrible. He belongs on the Coalition for Critical Thinking Bigfoot page, which I enjoy. I enjoy that page. Yeah, Jeffrey Kelly. He's such a curmudgeon.
A what?
Curmudgeon, like a
old guy.
Yeah, just he's just
get off
jaded.
my lawn.
Yeah, he's jaded and everything's. Even though he's still in the Bigfoot world, but he decides to stay around because he's got a lot of friends in the business. But what they do now is they just shoot down anything Bigfoot because they don't believe in it anymore. But they've still got friends that they met through Bigfoot. That's my synopsis.
I was teasing one of my longtime friends the other day because he's kind of become the old cranky old guy. And I told him the other day, I said, when did you become the cranky old man standing on the lawn telling kids to get off his yard? He said, long time ago.
Okay, I'm asking Philip if he can find the right vocals. Philip, try to find those and I'll put them up on the screen. Just send me a link. Because I've got an audience here of 11 people. I've got to keep them entertained. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, have you still got are you starting your new band, Cornell?
Yeah, it's on hold. It's on hold at the minute because all of us are above 50. So we all have such a tight schedule. It's I can do Monday nights, Thursday nights, and maybe Saturday. And the other guys are well, I can do Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Sunday. It's this kind of thing. But
we get together one night a week.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun though.
We're going to play a lot of. Huh?
I said all of us in the band are in our early to mid 50s, and except Elijah, my son, he's 26. And I was telling him, I said, man, you've bypassed, learning to play with other guys and went right to a band with guys that's played forever, So
I know that's really good for him.
And he doesn't feel any pressure, man. He's just got confidence. He just walks in and plays his stuff,
Well, you raised him right. That's why.
Yeah, I guess so.
I go to a local blues bar, and just about anybody in the audience can step on stage and play an instrument. So it's always interesting. Yeah,
we have a bar like that. The first time my dad came to America, he's a drummer. He used to drum for Van Morrison.
Yeah,
and he got up there and he was just beating the drums like hell, and I was swelling with pride. I mean, I was I had an aura. I could have just escaped my body and flew through the roof. I'm my dad is, and it's the first time he met my wife, and she's sitting there, looking all pretty and stuff, and we're watching my dad play, and I'm oh my God, you know what it must feel like that your new wife is watching your dad, who used to play Van Morrison, play on stage, and he's killing it. I mean, he's hitting the drums like a friggin', it's crazy. He's coming actually in next week. My dad's going to be here, and he still plays drums. He still plasters for a living. The guy's 76, and he's so spry. You know what I mean? He just runs around he goes on hikes and stuff. He's like a 30-year-old. In fact, they put a lot of 30-year-olds to shame.
You can tell the old musicians like that took care of themselves.
Yeah.
It's like Ted Nugent. know, whether you like his politics and stuff or not. I mean,
Yeah,
that
he's an asshole. But
amazing shape. Man, you know, the best Ted Nugent concert I've seen lately, and of course he comes to Ardmore close quite often, but he had apparently it'd been about 10 years ago, he had made some comment that the Secret Service thought of as a threat or something. The Secret Service came down to Oklahoma and was talking to him before his concert. And he played, I think we probably heard 5 more songs than he planned because he didn't talk about politics the whole show. He just played music. And I'm like going, man, maybe the Secret Service ought to show up more. We got to hear more of his songs,
Right.
you know.
Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Let me see if I can add this. This is my dad's band from the 80s. That's my dad on drums. It's a really good song with great saxophone. That's my dad right there, on the upper right. So
Wow.
I used to go and watch him when I was a kid.
Yeah,
He's a little grumpy guy.
one of my direct ancestors is credited with bringing the trombone to the United States, and I don't know if that's such a good thing. I don't know.
I bet you stepped off your ancestors stepped off the Mayflower. Definitely.
He was in that area. He lived in Boston.
Yeah, I knew it.
Captain Isaac Delano there. So, yeah.
When did your dad play with Van Morrison, Cornell?
66. Look it up in the Wikipedia page. You'll see my dad listed.
So is he the drummer on Brown Eyed Girl?
I can't remember, but when Van Morrison made it big in England, when they returned, they all broke up and stuff, and they needed a drummer for the Irish tour. And my dad joined Van Morrison for the Irish tour, but he was like 17 years old. So yeah, he was too young. But he could have made it big. But now he plays in an Eagles tribute band, and they sell out like these, venues back home.
Yeah, the tribute bands are a big thing right now.
Yeah,
there's a fame, and I think they're famous. All-female Zeppelin tribute band out in San Francisco called Zepparella.
Right.
Okay. The younger lady in that band that plays bass, blonde-headed girl, learned to play her instrument in my store.
Really?
Steve taught her to play.
That's crazy. Well, what about Iron Maidens? You ever see those guys? They're an all Iron Maiden female tribute band. They're fantastic.
Huh. Yeah, I have not.
Yeah, they're really good.
We're going to play some Maiden tunes. I'm having to work up a lead for the Trooper. Me and Steve are
good luck to the bassist. The bassist is
Elijah was knocking that out today. He and I were playing the rhythm on that, and he was doing well.
Well, the bass actually in the Trooper isn't too bad. It's din din diddle din din diddle and din din diddle din diddle 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 diddle. It's kind of like
and everything Iron Maiden gallops. You notice that?
Yeah.
All the Iron Maiden,
like they're marching into the Crimean War against the Russians or something.
Right. Yeah, it's a cool band.
Anybody else have any requirements? Holy shit, it's been almost 2 hours. Anybody else want to talk about something?
Requirements?
Requests?
Yeah, requests.
What do you require?
There's a lot I require, but I'm not going to get it.
Yeah, I require a lot of things, but I'm not going to do it on screen.
It's small fortune.
Oh, shoot.
Cassie, what are you looking for under that description?
Yeah, I have a native friend. He's a native elder, but I once asked him if he ever saw Sasquatch, and he said saw him. I was married to him once.
No. Hey, Chris, I got a funny story to tell you. Just mentioning my friend Tim Harjo that was on that.
Yeah.
The very last thing that was filmed on that is we went over to a Seminole tribal elder's house, and I didn't know him personally, but Tim is where he's sitting at the campfire with the old native man, and they're talking. Well, one of the cameramen went and out away from everybody, and he set his camera in the branch of a tree and was filming himself as he talked, And when I was over there, this little native kid comes walking up and says to one of the others, says, "Hey, there's a white guy over there talking to a tree." Because he couldn't see the camera, and all he's seen is this cameraman sitting there. He's talking. He's like, "Hey, there's a white guy over there talking to a tree." That was hilarious.
Yeah, we had a meeting.
About
We had a meeting back in April with the Seminole Tribe and Seminole Nation of Oklahoma down in South Florida, and they found out they have the same type of sense of humor.
Yeah.
Who was it, Dave, that told me that if you went on to certain reservations, that you would get shot on sight if you were white? Am I dreaming that? Did somebody tell me that?
Not in Oklahoma. Not in Oklahoma. You may. I mean, there may be some of that up. No, that would be. I mean, there was like in the early 70s, late 60s, there was the Wounded Knee incident and stuff like that. That was the Sioux. And, something like that might have happened back then. And I'm sure it might have.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of figured out tourism since then.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But I heard that there was some degenerate, kind of off the path reservations.
No,
where
not
people
really.
live
I
on
mean,
roads.
there was some I actually have a personal friend that was there during some of that and very up on the history. I mean, it was the government was really doing some pretty bad stuff, regarding the
supposedly on federal law, you can't be on tribal land after dark.
Really?
At least that's how it is with the Seminole tribe in South, unless you're staying at like one of the resorts, like the RV resort or something. You have to have a reason to be there.
Right. And technically it's that way in some areas of Oklahoma too, but they don't,
enforce
it. Yeah.
I mean, literally, I drive right through the Cullahoma Reservation every day on my way to work, and that's never an issue. Of course, I know most of the people that work there, friends of mine,
But you're the canary in the coal mine. If you don't get shot, nobody will. You're the most English person that could drive through there.
Oh, that's Dave.
I mean,
just kidding you.
I mean, I'm a little bit of Cherokee myself, but no, I mean, if somebody got on there and was like vandalizing and thieving and stuff like that, yeah, I think they'd put their foot down pretty quick.
Right.
Yeah, that's not, and that was the consensus when Bruce and them came over from England to do that documentary. He said, over in Europe, they still look at Oklahoma like you guys are putting the wagons in a circle and the natives are, shooting arrows at you and stuff. They look at it like Oklahoma's still primitive,
Have you seen 1860? What is 1863 or whatever it is?
1883.
1883. Have you seen that?
No.
Some of it.
I had to stop watching it after I learned that one of my favorite characters was going to die, so I stopped watching it because I couldn't deal with it. But it was a really good show.
I know a lady that when she was in school in this first or second grade, and they were talking about the Pilgrims, and the teacher asked, "Well, what would you have done if you had met the Pilgrims?" And she said, "Well, I would have killed every one of them."
So would I have.
Yeah.
Well,
we did
see,
that in Ireland.
nowadays we have the gift of hindsight. You
Yeah.
know,
And that was when she was like 8 years old, you know, that she said that. 60th annual Willow Creek. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I bet
you're going to be there, Kathy. Well, if I was a single man, I'd go up and meet you.
60th annual Bigfoot date. Are you trying to set me up for a date or what?
Either you or me, I'm not too sure. Or maybe Dave. We're kidding, Kathy.
No, Cornell, you're saying you've been in the U.S. about 20 years
22
or so?
years.
That's about the same amount of time my wife's been in the U.S. You know, she came here from South Korea. She's a lot smarter than me. She's a hell of a professional.
They're crazy. Yeah. The South Koreans are like humans 2.0. Yeah, they're humans 2.0. The South Koreans, oh my God, they're so smart.
Oh, and by the way, she's going to be up in your neck of the woods this week, Cornell. That's why I'm not up there right now. My stepson is up there in medical school in Boston, so she's going up to visit him a couple of weeks.
Oh, what school?
Boston University.
Oh, where's she going to be staying at?
Well, I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
see what he's doing here.
There's something like 30 colleges or universities in Boston.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
That's why it's so expensive, because all these rich parents send their kids to universities in Boston, and the rents are just like through the roof. Like this place right now where I'm staying in, and I'm getting a discount. It's $1,400 a month just for 2 bedrooms. Yeah,
that's insane.
And that's in Western Mass. If you go into Boston, you're talking $3,000 a month.
That's crazy. It's not, rent and everything has. Of course, I've got my own place here, but rent down here in Oklahoma has gone up a lot lately. But it's still not. I mean, $1,400 a month. You could rent a like in Ada, really premium like brick home or something.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
Yeah,
and like Clinton is like a working class blue collar kind of a town, but it's got a lot of beauty around. It's got like reservoir and lots of walking trails. That's why I like it here. There's a lot of nature. That's the only reason why.
Yeah, you get a really beautiful area. But I imagine wages are a lot better up there in Massachusetts than they are in Oklahoma too. They'd have to be able to afford that.
Yeah, of course.
Problem what's happening in Oklahoma is there's a lot of people from I call them states where rent and property is really high. Moving to Oklahoma is driving the property costs up here,
Right.
China.
Make it kind of rough. Huh?
China.
Well, that was the pot farms. You had a lot of Chinese nationals moving up here and in Oklahoma. But now the drug enforcement started cracking down on them. Their pot farms are falling really quickly.
Oh my God, I want a burger. I've got these burgers thawing, and I'm down for a burger, so I might have one before.
Oh, man, I got a burger. Cornell, I got to move that the other day and stop. Don't buy pre-made hamburger patties from the Dollar General store. I did. Never. Oh, my God. I could not eat it, and no kidding. I threw them over the fence. Coyotes come up in my yard every night. The coyotes
Yeah, coyotes wouldn't touch it.
No. It wasn't. I didn't even know if it was really meat. It said it was, but it had a bunch of other stuff. It was not edible. And the animals didn't even eat it. And I'm like going, oh, my gosh, It was horrid. Anyway,
I only buy grass-fed beef.
Yeah, we got that. My family, we raise cattle, so.
Yeah, I buy grass-fed or really premium burgers, but I will not buy frozen burgers. Not a chance. I'm weird about meat. I won't eat hamburgers. Hot dogs, but I will eat the Hebrew Nation. The Hebrew Nation National, or whatever you call them. They're real beef beef hot dogs. I'll buy them. But that's it. That's it.
Well, are they kosher?
Yeah.
So the priest did something before he slit the cow's throat or
Right.
whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
Rabbi or whatever. Yeah. So I do trust those though.
Yeah, I have a friend who raised dogs.
Better quality meat. Hey, do you ever get any kosher pork?
No. I didn't think it was a thing.
Actually, we have a Jewish butcher who would butcher the pigs for a friend of mine who raised pigs.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So what makes a pickle kosher? I mean, I understand,
I don't know.
I mean, does a rabbi bless the pickle or something?
I don't know.
I'm not
special sauce.
I'm not being facetious.
I think
no animal products.
Hebrew National does not have nitrates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
They're really good though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I gotta go eat. I'm hungry after all this pickle talk.
Chris, good to talk to you, man. And you too, Cornell.
Yeah, finally got to tell you some of my stories there.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris, for
Okay. Yeah, y'all have a good weekend there. Yep.
I'm gonna go fix a hamburger. Cornell's got me wanting a burger.
I'm starving.
I'm
all right, guys.
See you guys.
Thanks all for joining in.